right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the virtual side of the 2022 Supply Chain Insights Global Summit. I want to start off by offering a big warm welcome to all of you who are attending from all over the world. And I also have to say a huge thank you to Lora for putting on this event. It's going to be amazing. So Lora, welcome. Why don't you kick us off and give us an idea of why you put on the event and what we can all expect?
Well, it's the 10th year of the event, and in 2012, I was struggling because all of these new, fun, wonderful technologies were starting to come into the market, but people weren't really using them, and they weren't thinking about supply chain differently. So I wanted to create an event that was very different, one that was very focused on extreme networking, that had people talking to people, not about the status quo, not about what they were doing, but what they could do, and imagine the supply chain of the future. So it's the 10th year, and I gotta say, I'm a little bit disappointed because I haven't been successful. You know, we've had a lot of people retire, we've had a lot of turnover in organizations, and as you're gonna see in the insights I'm gonna share from the recent research, that, you know, 1 in 3 companies felt like they did okay over the last 32 months of disruption, but 2 out of 3 are like, wow, brute force, our technologies really weren't up to what we needed, and we need to think about things differently. And so when I talk to people, they're still doing the same old thing, and I'm like, we got to change that, right?
Yeah.
Because supply variability has increased, demand variability has increased, demand latency has increased, the bullwhip effect's increased. And Sarah, we got a lot of inventory. We're bloated. We're raping the planets, right? And water levels are falling, and most of our rivers, we're going through blackouts in China, and we've got the wrong inventories. And so people might say, well, why is that? We've been at inventory optimization for 40 years. Why do we not have it right? And they might say, well, the answer is a control tower or more risk management. And I'm like, no. That's not sufficient. It's not sufficient just to get signals to react. We really need to think about supply chains outside in. We need to think about channel signals and decreasing latency and improving the signals for companies. And that's part of the river demand activity, which is one of the first things we're going to do in the virtual event. It's so exciting. And these rivers of demand actually came out of a training class of outside in. And I'll tell you a story, Sarah. When I first started teaching training, I would have people draw their supply chain. And of 150 companies, only one person that took my training ever put a customer on their supply chain. Can you imagine? Wow. They typically start with a truck or a factory, but not really the customer. And you'll find in the supply chains to admire presentations tomorrow, the difference between those that are really winning and those that are not is really customer centricity. Yeah. Starting with what does it take for the last mile delivery? What does it mean to be truly excellent? So this class that I taught recently on outside in processes, I said, let's do this differently. Let's just don't draw a supply chain. Let's think about the supply chain as a river. And why a river? Because new forms of analytics allow us to show flow and allow us to really align organizations and synchronize them to flow. So it isn't enough just to integrate the supply chain. We've got to really manage flow across organizations and by role. And so the river of demand activity is to change our paradigm so that we can learn from the past to unlearn, to think differently. And we're going to talk about this whole process of unlearning. Because when I work with organizations, they're like, Laura, it's just change management. I'm like, can't drive change management unless we first unlearn. So as you hear the people that actually went through the activity and you hear the voices, think about the unlearning that needs to go on in your organization and how you become a leader. Because the difference between where we are and what we need to be in 2030, I think, is all about leadership. Yes. And I think we need to really bring that from corporations to be able to drive leadership. And that's what this event's all about. designed for extreme networking. So you'll see people drawing, talking, laughing. It's very important to have fun. On the virtual event, we've got the gamification. I can't wait to see who's going to win. I love seeing people already in the platform shaking it up. I love, the conversations. This is all about having those enlightened conversations. I'm hoping people can network together to build a guiding coalition to drive change. And that's what this event is all about. Are you excited? I rock and roll?
I'm so excited. And like you said, our leaderboard is hot already. People participating all over the platform, and there are prizes, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But like you said, it's all about leadership. I mean, everything right now, the flow of knowledge and information is changing every 1.5 years, and that was like 2 years ago. So it's only increasing and getting faster.
Yeah, but what are we doing? We're implementing the same old technology with this old-fashioned process definition. We don't have alignment. And it's like, enough of that. Let's change that, right?
Let's shake this up.
Let's shake it up. Let's be supply chain leaders. Let's admit that we've got to learn from the past, unlearn, relearn, that our traditional process is sufficient. What this is all about.
Yeah.
The guiding coalition to drive change.
Yeah, and like real world examples. That's what people all over the world are looking for. They're looking to hear from people who are going through these exercises, and they want to know exactly where was their headspace, right? Where did they start with and where did they end up? And what was their perspective in the end? And what were some of the things that went on in their head during the process? Because as humans, we always have self-doubt, right? Especially when we're learning something new or unlearning with innovation and things like that. So what is that process? What did we go through? How did we get there? What were the questions that we asked? And that's what I am really excited about. Exciting, something that information that they can take action on today, right? I think that's really the main focus of this, is that we're going to give you real insights for you to take action.
Well, and it's so exciting. We've got people from Sudan and Vietnam and China and Singapore and, South Africa and Brazil. And, I can't wait to get started. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. Let's do this.
I got to get out of the hot seat. Let me get going. Okay.
Yeah.
See you later.
Thanks,
I got a show to run.
We'll see you